Welcome to uWrench. Today we're going to be taking a look at this diagnostic scanner that's been kindly supplied to us for review by Kingbolen. This is the Kingbolen K7. So first and foremost, what we have here is an entirely wireless Bluetooth scanner, and it's currently one of the cheapest wireless scanners of its type available on the market. And when we're talking price, now prices do tend to fluctuate on scanners quite a lot, but the current price for this scanner on Amazon today, $360, and that's a very keen price. And in fact, this puts this unit in direct competition with the best-selling XTOOL D7S, which you can pick up for about the same amount of money. And if you've already been doing your research on scanners, you absolutely will already have come across the D7S. But of course, we do have one major difference. The Kingbolen K7 that we have here is an entirely wireless unit, whereas the D7S is not. And of course, this can be a huge bonus, especially if you're working in the engine bay or under the car. But of course, that's not the only difference between those two scanners, and we will be taking a look at some of the differences in a little bit more detail as we progress through the video. So we'll be finding out whether the K7 might be a better option for you personally than the best-selling XTOOL D7S. So first of all, and very, very importantly, what protocols does the K7 support? And so the K7, of course, is a CAN-capable scanner, but it does also have FCA. And FCA stands for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. This was introduced in 2018 as a secure gateway system. And so if it's likely that you're going to be working on more modern versions of Fiat, Jeep, Chrysler and Dodge, then of course that's something that you'll definitely want. However, our K7 does not extend its coverage for either DOIP or CAN-FD. And so if you're likely to be working on very modern cars and doing more complex tasks, then that's something that you'll definitely want to bear in mind, especially remembering that the D7S has both of those protocols on board as standard. But as a general day-to-day DIY orientated scanner, the K7 may well have a few advantages over the D7S, and we'll explore those as we delve in a little bit deeper. Now, if you are interested in buying yourself a Kingbolen K7, then we will be adding Amazon links for this scanner into the video description below for you. So if this video ends up being helpful for you, can you please help to support us in return here at uWrench? Please be sure to click those Amazon links. So what's included when we buy our Kingbolen K7? It comes delivered in this white retail box, in which you'll find we have a black zip-up carry case. And when we open up our case, the first thing that we see, of course, is our scanner. And below our scanner, you'll find the OBD2 wireless unit. And additionally, the unit does come complete with the USB charging cable and also the USB charging block, which comes with various adapters for North America, UK and Europe. And the K7 comes fitted with a 7-inch screen with a 1280 by 720 resolution. It also comes fitted with a 3150 mAh battery as standard. And when it comes to storage, the K7 features 32 gigabytes. And for the processor, we have a quad-core processor running at 1.8 gigahertz under Android 10. And on the rear of the unit, you'll find that we have a 13 megapixel built-in camera. And the body of the K7 is finished in black and red, complete with a tyre-inspired grip on the left-hand side. And Kingbolen supply the K7 complete with a full 1-year warranty. And additionally, they include 3 years of free updates. And when it comes to vehicle coverage, Kingbolen claim that the K7 is compatible with over 10,000 models. So now we know a little bit more, let's get it switched on and set up. So upon powering up the unit, we're first presented with the Kingbolen logo, which then takes you through to the language preference screen, and we'll choose English. And then we're taken straight through into network setup. So simply choose your desired network, enter your Wi-Fi password, and then click Next. Next we'll select the time zone, and you also need to agree to the terms and conditions. And then you'll be asked to either log in or create an account. And this will verify your email address during the process and also create a password. You then need to enter your serial number and also the activation code that's included within the box. And then you can go ahead and enter your business details or simply your own name. And you can skip this step if you prefer. So we're now onto the main Kingbolen page. But before we go any further, it's always a good idea to check for updates. And here we can see we have 51 updates available, and you can pick and choose any particular ones that you want, or simply click Start All. Now, installing the updates can take some time, so a little bit of patience is definitely required. And once we've got everything updated, we should be ready to go. So let's get this hooked up to the car. So first of all, we need to locate our OBD2 port, and this is usually located under the dashboard on the left-hand side of the car. And then we simply need to plug in our wireless OBD2 adapter. Then we'll need to put in the key and switch it 2 clicks to the right to position 2, which is the one before starting the engine. It's also a good idea to switch off anything that's going to drain our battery, including our heater panel and also the radio. And so our scanner is now ready to use. So let's have a look at some of the basic features. So let's make a start by hitting the scan option, then auto search. It then confirms it's found your car, which in our case is a Chrysler. So we'll click OK and then confirm the full details. So let's make a start with the basic health report, and the scanner will scan through all of the available modules for fault codes. And we can now see that it's scanned successfully through all of the available modules, and the ones without any issues have the green tick. But we do have one fault code here, which we can click to expand, and it's telling us we have a low key fob battery. And the arrow option takes us directly into just this one module, and we do have various options here. And we'll be exploring these in a little bit more detail in just a second. So going back to our scan before we do anything with our codes, it's a good idea to save the report. And you can choose if this is a pre or post repair scan, and also add any notes as required. You then have quite extensive options for details to include in the scan. But we just want to email it to ourselves, so we'll just add an email address. You can then preview the report, and to email it, click PDF, then share, and we'll choose the email option. Simply enter the address and click send. Then once we've completed our work, or we just need to clear the code, we can click on Clear DTCs. Now this code will come back for us because nothing has actually changed, but once fixed, that's how you would clear that code. So next we can take a look at System Scan. And this can be helpful to double check what modules and options you have fitted to your particular car. And once we've confirmed what we definitely have, you can click on any of them for direct access to that module and its options. So coming back to our main page, let's select specific modules by clicking System Selection. And then we can see all of the modules which may be applicable to this car. And the K7 is a fully bi-directional scanner. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of examples of that in action. So we'll choose the power sliding door on the right hand side, and we'll then click System Test. Now our rear door is currently open, so we'll click the sliding door close test, and we can hear that the door successfully closes. And remember, this is done entirely by the scanner, so the switches in the car have not been touched. And for another example, in the door module front right, we can view the window state, and we can move the windows either up or down for 2.5 or 5 second intervals. So if, for example, your window is not working and you thought it might be the switch, you could run this kind of test to directly control the window motor whilst bypassing the switch entirely. And you can use these kinds of bi-directional controls for literally hundreds of different things around the car. And here I'm using it to test the headlights, first of all for low beam, and additionally for high beam. And you can also test the indicators. And this really is only the really basic stuff that we're looking at here. And we can also use the scanner to test if the status of a component correctly changes. So within a module we can click Read Data Stream, and we can tick any functions that we want to monitor, then click OK. And here it's showing me the 3 that I've selected, which are for the electric window front left. And we can also click Record, which allows us to view the data again at a later time. And the record option is really useful for checking things that we have to test whilst the car is actually being driven. And for our basic window test, if I manually press the window switch, we can see that the data adjusts accordingly for the current state and reverts back when I release the switch. We can then stop the recording and save it for watching back later. And we can also view the information in graph form as well. Here we're looking at the heater temperatures. And if we click graph, we can see that we have a graph for the left side. And if we come back and click combine, we can see all of the elements together on one single graph. And so coming back to the main menu, you can see all of the manufacturers that the K7 covers. And we also have buttons on the right hand side to select by localized manufacturers. Also, we do have a full generic OBD2 scanner built into this unit. This is a fairly basic scan and is not manufacturer specific, but it can be very helpful for finding everyday faults. And we also have the options here to view faults, clear faults and many more. And additionally, when you view a fault code, you can click on it and it will take you straight to a Google search for that code. So you can quickly search for possible solutions. So next up, we'll take a look at the reset section. And this is where the 31 maintenance functions come into play. And what we essentially have here is a fairly generic list of both common and useful processes. However, it should be noted that not all of these will necessarily be available for the particular car you're working on, because it will depend on what options and modules your car has fitted. And so what we have here are essentially just shortcuts for common processes. And of course, sometimes that can be very useful. But in reality, you'll most likely want to access those modules manually once you're a little bit more familiar with the scanner. Next, in the repair info section, we have shortcuts to many useful tools, including a Chrome browser, Yahoo Mail, calculator and even a Square point of sale. And we also have a generic OBD code search tool here, which is very useful indeed. And under the module section, we can see some of the optional add-ons that are compatible with the K7. And of course, these are sold separately. And under the file section, this is where we get access to our previously saved reports. And then finally, under the settings section, we have a particularly exhaustive amount of settings that should just about cover everyone's requirements. And we're really only covering the very basics of what this scanner can do. We are just scratching the surface. But hopefully this will allow you to get a bit of a feel for how this unit works and just how extensive those options could be. So we've taken a look at some of the features on the Kingbolen K7 and we can see that it's definitely a very capable scanner. But is it the right scanner for you? And of course, how well does it compare to the best-selling D7S? Well, we do have two very important things to consider. Firstly, we should remember that the K7 does not support DOIP or CAN-FD protocols, whereas the D7S does. And this is definitely a big consideration, especially if you intend to be working on far more modern vehicles or doing far more complex tasks. However, one huge advantage that we do have with the K7, of course, this unit is entirely wireless. And that really does make working on cars a lot easier, especially if you actually have to go outside of the cabin. And additionally, when you're searching around specifically for wireless-only scanners, you'll quickly find that the Kingbolen K7 is one of the best value options out there. And then there are some more trivial but still important factors to consider. So on both the K7 and the D7S both have 7-inch screens, but we do have a slightly higher resolution on the K7. And we have a 5000 mAh battery that's fitted to the D7S, whereas we have a 3150 here on the K7. So you can definitely dive in and compare specifications, and you find that you probably have small advantages in either direction. Now when it comes to actually using the K7, I must say that I was refreshingly impressed. I really like the style of their menu system. Everything is very logical and also very practical. And that's something that you certainly can't say of all scanners. Also, it's great to see just how deep the functionality goes beyond scanning. And it's great to see that they've included a Square point of sale feature as well as a full customer management system for use in more commercial environments. Now, in all reality, the K7, or in fact any scanner you can buy for around $500 or even perhaps $1,000, is realistically not going to be suitable for use in a real commercial environment. But it's great attention to detail to see these kinds of additional features all crammed into the already extensive features within the K7. Additionally, I really like the feel of the scanner in hand. And yes, the tyre grip pattern that we have here might be a little bit of a gimmick, but it's actually very practical and very grippy. And I really like the extended chunky handle that we have on the left-hand side, because this makes the unit very easy to hold on to whilst at the same time not blocking the screen. But it's important to realise that of course it's not symmetrical, so it's perfect for holding the scanner in your left hand whilst touching the screen with your right. But if you are a left-handed user, of course that might be a little bit more awkward. But the biggest thing that I like about the Kingbolen K7 is the simple fact that for $360 we have a competent and completely wireless scanner. And the wireless functionality is definitely a huge bonus when it comes to diagnostics. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to do work all over the car, not just around the driver's seat area. And so having that freedom to walk around the entirety of the car as you need or require is definitely a huge plus. But whatever path you decide to take, the K7 is a great option and more than capable for handling the vast majority of DIY orientated jobs you're likely to encounter. And please remember, if you are interested in buying one of these, we do have those Amazon links in the video description. And so if this video has been helpful for you in any way, please be sure to help support what we do in return. Please be sure to click on those Amazon links. And before you leave us today, we always ask, please take 1 second out of your busy day. Please, at the very least, be sure to hit that like button for us. And whilst you're there, also consider hitting that subscribe button. We've got hundreds more videos just waiting for you to check out. And please do remember, if you really want to support us, check out those Amazon links. So thank you for joining us here at uWrench, and we'll see you on the next video.